AI vendors are everywhere, each claiming they can revolutionize your business. But how do you know which solutions actually deliver? In this episode, you're going to hear from two industry pros who are tackling this hype head on. They share how they vet AI tools for real ROI and reveal some pitfalls to avoid along the way.
When we go to a capital project, there are 20 subcontractors and general contractors all on the job site at the same time. So I want AI to be able to fill in the gaps or see something that we don't see. They're almost purchasing technology without having a real problem to solve because it's this cool new technology, it's generative, it's something that most people have never seen before. I would say there's almost too much hype right now.
So Dan Logan is CEO of NA Logan, a leading industrial painting and coatings contractor, and Danny Frisco is CEO of Rapido, a nearshore logistics firm with over 750 staff. Ready to cut through the noise? Let's go. So do you guys see any of the tools that you're using on the bid proposal side or the TMS side where AI is being kind of incorporated or kind of where it's becoming helpful, or is it the vendors still behind, do you think? What's your opinion on?
I wouldn't say they're still behind. I would say there's almost too much hype right now, at least for us. So internally, it's hard to figure out who the winners will be and who to kind of, jump onto and ride with. So we haven't implemented anything kind of customer facing, but we have done some of the AI agents behind the scenes for our back office as well. And we're trying to automate as much as we can internally, but nothing that's externally facing just yet.
Right.
I can see more. It's helpful on the, so we still do commercial work, and it's, there's software out there right now that's able to, do measurements of buildings and, but less so on the industrial side. But we've seen quite a bit of help on the commercial side that helps us try and stay on top of some of these projects that that looks like an opportunity for us to bid on, and that my staff finds pretty helpful. So yeah, I think commercial is probably the closest that we are right now.
Yeah, I'd say the deepest experiment for us has been on the recruiting side. So if you think about our staffing in general, we hire anywhere from like 30 on the low end to 50 on the high end people per month. So we're doing hundreds of interviews, hundreds of screenings, English tests, kind of a whole process. And we've been able to implement some AI in that process to create some efficiencies there, whether it's recording interviews and kicking out a summary and being able to send to our clients, or we're using some software right now that kind of like a Calendly-esque AI, it matches the client schedule with our person's schedule, with our internal schedule, and can take away some of those tier one tasks. It hasn't removed entire jobs specifically, and we honestly don't think it will, at least as of right now, but it has eliminated some of those tedious tasks that our people are doing.
So as leaders in industry and your companies, how do you guys evaluate these technologies that are coming up and think about whether it's worth investigating, whether worth experimenting or implementing?
It's tough. I think we try and figure out the problem first, and it sounds simple, but I think what a lot of companies are doing right now, and because AI is such a hype train, is that they're almost purchasing technology without having a real problem to solve because of the hype, because it's this cool new technology, it's generative, it's something that most people have never seen before. And they'll see a great demo, they'll see something like that and just kind of jump in bed with a vendor right away, where we try and stay as disciplined as possible. If it doesn't really solve a core problem for us, it's not really worth the time right now, because I think you can get into this habit of trying too much and implementing too much, and then it's not necessarily the technology's fault, it's the implementation of it. It's you've gotten the tech to 50% of where it's at, and then you have 5 technologies that are 50% useful, and it's just, we'd rather focus on maybe 1 or 2 that are really solving a problem for the business.
Right.
Yeah, I see a lot of gaps in the same thing that you were describing. So it's, we're trying to compare and contrast with our existing modeling versus, how AI would utilize looking at a single project. And so it's more of just going back and, we're working alongside and seeing, if there's going to be continued improvements on it or something that we still need to be aware of. But yeah, the compare and contrast on it, and constant communication with our weekly meetings to see how, when we talk about the future projects that we're bidding on, seeing if there's more of a comfort in continuing to develop more of that technology.
So in your businesses, do you see technology as providing any kind of competitive advantage if you kind of adopt these things faster, or do you see your industries as kind of slow moving that you don't need to be kind of a first mover? How do you see it?
So we don't want to be bleeding edge in technology. We are completely fine with seeing vendors come into the space that will compete with us and kind of being able to learn from them and learn from our clients on what is working and what isn't working. I say that, but we definitely are embracing technology, and we see it as the future and a very much a competitive advantage. I think in staffing itself, we're up against just standard staffing companies right now, but also pure AI agent plays that are taking away some of the tasks from the humans. And our competitive advantage, going back to that human in the loop for us, is where we want to guide the company in the future. So we still think the human element is very important. And by introducing a model that complements the technology, I think it helps us out with some of those integrations, with some of the challenges that you might face if you're just going directly into technology. So we very much see it as a value add for sure.
I wanted to tell a broader story than beyond what we're currently focused on, especially during the bidding process. We only look at what our exact scope is. And when we go to a capital project, there could be 10s, 20s, 20 subcontractors and general contractors all on the job site at the same time. So I want AI to be able to fill in the gaps or see something that we don't see from our level, where we only address our scope. But AI would be able to tell us, like, listen, this is where the one outfit's going to be here. You're going to be able to lose production here. And I just want it to be able to tell me the story, just to make sure that we did not, we factored all these areas in before we move further into our job scope and the pricing models.
So let's just blow our budget on every AI tool that runs a fancy demo and hope something sticks. That's how the experts do it, right? Contrary to the hype, buying AI on a whim is the fastest way to burn money. Like Danny and Daniel said, you need to pinpoint a real problem and evaluate how that tool fits in your workflow. The secret is a systematic approach, and we've guided hundreds of organizations through this type of process, ensuring they get the actual ROI instead of just the hype. If you want to keep up with how top companies are thinking about and implementing AI, subscribe to our newsletter, which is linked in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.